But like when you think of sources of motivation, do you have a palette of them that you can dip into? Do you even feel the need to dip into them? Or is it really just all about action steps throughout your day? Or if I can even venture into the somewhat, harder stories that I've heard you talk about, do you sometimes think back and like, listen, I'm going to do this because there are a bunch of guys that are dead now that can't. And so I'm going to do it because I can. What are the paints on your motivation palette, if you will?
Well, you probably heard me say that motivation isn't something that I am going to count on, because it's just an emotion that's going to come and go, and it's just like feeling happy. You feel happy right now, maybe you won't feel happy in 15 minutes. You feel sad now, maybe you won't feel sad in 15 minutes. You feel motivated right now, you might not feel motivated in 15 minutes. Therefore, I can't rely on it. So I'm not going to put any money on just being motivated, because it doesn't really matter to me. So the daily actions that I take aren't from motivation. They're just from discipline. Like I said earlier, I'm not going to get up and go through some big debate about, well, really, do I really feel like doing this? No, I don't feel like doing this, but it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to go do it. Now, if we start to look at sort of a broader movement through life and continuing to try and move forward and move on. My buddy Seth died, and he was the Delta platoon commander in Task Unit Bruiser, and he died in 2017, and it was in a parachute accident. And it was, it's definitely unexpected. And also he'd already been through multiple deployments, was with me in the Battle of Ramadi. He then went back into Sadr City and led a ton of very dangerous operations. And then he did other deployments and was kind of done with his deployments, kind of done. And now he's just talking about when he's going to retire, and he's a couple years away from retirement. And, I'm talking about, hey, we're going to work together again. And it all seems like we're on a pretty good path to just move forward. And then he ends up dying in a parachute accident. And he's a guy that, was really just kind of, you're not going to be able to replace any, you can't. There's a uniqueness to him that you're not going to find. And, I've got some stuff that he wrote. He was an incredible writer, and I'll try and write something like him. We can't do it because he had a bigger vocabulary and a more articulate way of writing. And so I can't write anything as well as he wrote it. He was incredible at guitar. He played guitar, played ukulele, sick, an incredible at playing guitar. And he's a total knuckle dragger, a total meathead knuckle dragger. His nickname was Unfrozen Caveman because he just looked like a big caveman, and yet he spoke French and, could recite French poetry and was really good at learning languages. And he was an artist. So he's this guy, and and a very emotional guy, who would, I was talking earlier about being a balance for someone. I had to balance this dude out on a daily basis sometimes. He'd be so mad about something. One day he'd be, I hate the teams, I hate all these guys. And I'd say, yeah, I get it, man. And the next day, I'm never getting out of the teams. He would oscillate that bad. And I would tell him, hey bro, you're oscillating again. And just would do anything. And he loved his guys and would do anything for his guys. And so when he died, we're at his, it's not his funeral, it's before the funeral. It's like the open casket thing, the wake thing. And myself his brother Alex, Leif Babin, who I rode Extreme Ownership with, and JP Donnell, who's one of my brothers who works with us at Echelon Front now, is with us in Ramadi and was very close to Seth. And we're like, everyone kind of cleared out for us. And we go in there, and I think JP had one of those memorial bracelets with guys' names on it that had died, and JP gave that to him. And I think Leif gave him some surf wax because also Seth was a surfer. And I gave Seth his black belt because he started training jiu-jitsu with me, and he had his purple belt. He'd gotten his purple belt. I gave him his black belt, and everyone was just quiet. And you know, JP was telling this story the other day, and I just said, we will not fail him. Meaning that him, Mark, Mikey, Chris, Seth, and countless other guys, they're not here. They don't have the opportunity to do the things we do. They don't have the opportunity to get up in the morning. So that's what it is, man. I won't fail those guys.